Of course, the most popular time of the year for folks to change their Medicare options is during the AEP period, which runs yearly from October 15th through December 7th. Everyone knows that. But since that time has passed at the moment, today I want to talk about what are the 5 other enrollment periods folks could utilize throughout the year if they need to make changes to their Medicare health plan options outside of AEP. I'm Michael, and this is Michael's Medicare. And if you or somebody you know is trying to figure out what is the best Medicare option for them this AEP or really all year round, give us a call at the information down below and we can help them to make those tough Medicare choices. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. So first, let's talk about what are enrollment periods, because they are super important, but oftentimes they are sort of misunderstood. An enrollment period is a time when somebody is able to enroll. Okay, maybe not that misunderstood, but how someone qualifies for them can be pretty tricky because sometimes they are very specific about who can and cannot utilize them, when, and for how long. But without an enrollment period eligibility, then a Medicare beneficiary is not able to change their Medicare options, whether that is a Medicare Advantage, a Medicare Supplement plan, or a Medicare Part D plan, prescription drug plan. First up, and most temporally relevant, at least at the time we are putting this video out, is going to be the general election period, or the GEP period. Now, the GEP period is the enrollment period that happens every year from January through the end of March. And for these 3 months, everybody who is on Medicare will have a one-time option to change their Medicare health plan and move away from whatever plan they had chosen or had been enrolled in during AEP. This period is a one-time option, a bit of an oopsies if someone chose a plan and tried it and found that they didn't like it, but it is a nice flexible option to be able to change to a different plan. But again, it is just once and just during those 3 months. Next up is an enrollment period that can happen during AEP, but statistically only has about a 75% chance of occurring outside of the AEP period, which is something called the Initial Coverage Enrollment Period, or ICEP. And this period is specifically for those folks who are just brand new getting into Medicare initially. They got that new Medicare smell to them. For most Medicareans, this would be when they turn 65 years old and start claiming their Medicare benefits, but it doesn't have to be. This is because some folks become eligible for Medicare under 65 years old. If they qualify for disability, they can be enrolled in Medicare after 24 months of that disability eligibility. Inversely, this time frame can also be for those folks who are over the age of 65, perhaps maintain their health coverage at an employer or through a spouse's employer, and now are just losing that coverage. So basically, when someone first jumps into Medicare, regardless of their age, that's when the ICE period happens, and it doesn't have to be during AEP. It can happen all year round. Now, for those folks who may have missed AEP or missed the GEP period, or even their ICE period because they were affected by a declared state of emergency, well, there is specifically an SEP enrollment period for that. Now, one may say, how many people fall into this category? But things like flooding, earthquakes, wildfires, hurricanes, bird flu, for sure, happens, and kind of happens a lot more than one would think. And of course, as much as I would hate to say it because Medicare is a great program, there are situations where one's safety concerns or livelihood concerns will take precedence over one's Medicare enrollment. But that is why for folks who have been affected by a declared state of emergencies, and these declarations can be lengthy. I mean, consider the fact that there are still states of emergencies in both San Diego and Los Angeles from last winter's storms. They can still be utilized to enroll, and undoubtedly throughout the year there will be more. So if you are in a situation where maybe you just don't have a chance to make the changes you wanted to, or enrollment into the plans that you wanted to for Medicare, and it was during one of those states of emergencies that are declared in the affected areas, this is a very, very helpful enrollment period. Of course, it can be a bit of a task to figure out if you are eligible for one of these types of enrollment periods. But if you ask your agent, or even ask the insurance plan you want to enroll into, if there is one available, it could be an option if you don't have any other ways to make those changes. Another, probably more common enrollment period that is going to be available all year round is going to be for those folks who move. Now, to be clear, you can't just move next door. You can't move a block away or around the corner. This would need to be a move to a different region. Usually most Medicare health plans are designated to specific counties. For example, folks living in Los Angeles, they may live in Reseda and then move to Northridge, and this wouldn't generally count as a qualifying SEP move because the plan that somebody has in Reseda is probably still the same plan that they have in Northridge. as long as it's in Los Angeles County. But if someone is moving to a different county, perhaps they're moving to Riverside or Ventura or San Diego, this would count. And when somebody moves, they would be able to proactively change their plan before they move to their new location, or would be able to do it after they move. Just keep in mind, for moving, the available Medicare plans, even if they are under the same company, may still have different benefits, different prices, and different doctors on them, even if somebody is just moving right over the county line. The last enrollment period we're going to talk about today, that is available after the AEP period, so for the rest of the year, is actually a pretty popular one, and you would think it would be higher on the list, but it is for those folks who are leaving their credible employer coverage. Now, for those folks who enjoy working, or maybe just have to keep working after the retirement age, it is pretty common to still enroll into the Medicare Part A portion of Original Medicare, even if they have work coverage. Part A generally has no costs because we already paid into it all the years while we were working. It covers them for hospital bills, and there isn't really any reason not to. But the Part B portion does have, in fact, a cost at $185 a month in 2025. And if someone has credible work coverage, they don't need to get it or to pay that monthly premium, but they do still have the option to jump out of their work coverage at any time during the year and move into Medicare, whether it's in the AEP period or not. They have a special enrollment period whenever they choose to do that. Additionally, if someone is losing their work health coverage, they will have a 60-day period to enroll into a Medicare Part B and also get drug coverage through their Part D or MAPD plans before any of the Medicare penalties start to be applied. Just as a reminder, those penalties are for life. But either way, if someone is leaving their credible work coverage, they will have a Medicare enrollment period that can be used all year round whenever that occurs. So we can see that even though the Medicare AE period or annual enrollment period is over, there are at least 5 options to make changes to one's Medicare plan. And really, there are a whole bunch lesser known, but these are the 5 that we're going to talk about. The GEP, which happens January through March for all beneficiaries. The ICEP, which is for when someone first turns 65 or first becomes eligible for Medicare. Then there is the area-specific enrollment periods for declared states of emergency, enrollment periods if someone moves, and lastly, if someone leaves their credible work coverage and is eligible for Medicare. All right, so that's it for today's Michael's Medicare, and if you or somebody you know has questions about their Medicare, please feel free to reach out to us at the information down below, and me and my team are happy to help over the phone or in person at one of our many Southern California offices in both English and Espanol. So for Michael's Medicare, I'm Michael, hoping that you have a great rest of your day, and goodbye.